Welcome everyone to Overcome Podcast, episode 33. It's been a long time since we started the show to talk about great people that achieve great things, overcoming great obstacles. And today I have a friend of mine that I know for a long time, and I know it has overcome so many things that I decided to invite him for the show. Josh Thomas, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, my friend. Josh, I'd like to start talking a little bit about your, I would say, past life on the bodybuilding space, because I want to go all the way from the difficult times of getting to where you were, and then talking about the transition. So let's go back to the bodybuilding age. What really drove you to start bodybuilding?
You know, growing up in the gym, I really enjoyed the aspect of seeing quick results in the gym. I got in the gym when I was 12 years old. So the story behind that is really when I was in off season from track in middle school, I wasn't doing much. You know, my mom was trying to get me to do, other sports. She put me in karate, and it was something that I didn't really enjoy at the time. So I always had this membership that she got me, and I never went. So I was finally, kind of fed up with, karate and all the other things she wanted me to do. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give this gym thing a try. Getting in the gym, I really found value in being able to push myself and seeing the results that came with it. That instilled a lot of hard work within me and a lot of dedication. From there, I continued at it. I had a lot of friends try to continue work out with me, start some kind of program, and they kind of fell off over the years, and I kept at it. What got me into competing was I had a friend that was doing a show, and he did a show, and I was, his workout partner, his training partner, helping him through it. I saw, the process, and I was kind of interested. But really, it was the push that I had around me, my environment, the trainers that I was working with, it really kind of pushed me into trying to compete.
Yeah. So you start to exercise with 12. So how old were you on your first show?
I was 22.
So 10 years later.
So 10 years later. So and competing was never really in my kind of realm of thinking. I was just, I enjoyed the gym. I enjoyed the push for athletics. That was my focus. And then as I got older, into college, I started in the gym. I was in college, and I was also working in a gym, starting as a trainer. From there, the environment that I was in, I just fell in love with the gym. I really loved it. I saw the value that it added to my life and my clients' lives in a positive way. And that's really I wanted to push myself physically, and that's where competing started for me.
You were 22. Which show was that?
That was the West Texas Classic, and that was in 2012.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because, I think it was around the time that I met you, because I remember meeting Greg in 2010, 2011, when he was still at the old Metroflex Plano. I'm not sure where you were training at that time, but I think you were already doing some posing classes for your first show.
Yeah, I was working with Jeff, and that's really where it all started. I contacted Jeff. I needed a coach. We started there. And then over time, he saw the discipline that I had, and within me, he wanted me to work with him. That's really where I started working with Jeff, and we started working together from a business standpoint, and he was still coaching me. So I got a lot of good insight, a lot of great mentorship in that realm. And I met Greg after my overall win at that first show. And he invited me over to Metroflex where they were. It was a good start.
Yeah, it was a fun. And as far as I can remember, because I remember you doing some posings with Lou Moreira during that time, you were already big when I met you. I'm not sure what your weight was, but you are already heavyweight.
Yeah, I was. My first show I competed at, I was 209 my very first show. I could have been a lot leaner and a lot, you know, more prepared, but that first show, you're kind of feeling out what it really takes. I wasn't as uh, disciplined at the time. It built with over the years, but I had my meals where I kind of fell off. But it was a good experience the first show, and it really kind of built my understanding of what it took to really improve and get better. But yeah, that was in. I gradually, consistently gained weight and put on muscle year in and year out to consistently kind of improve my physique.
Yeah, you have great genetics because every year you were getting better and better, and every show you were more shredded, leaner. So it was really good to see the progress over time. I think your one of the biggest stage that you went through it was nationals, right?
Yeah, junior nationals. Yes, that was in 2017, and that was a fun show. Again, that I was in the best shape in that show. It was a very challenging prep, but for that level of competition, it had to be. And that was my first national show, and got first in the super heavyweights, and I was about 230. I was about 240 there.
It's kind of disappointing that that show that big doesn't give you a pro card, right? Because if it gave, you will be a pro at this point.
Yeah, bodybuilding in those shows are the only category that do not get pro cards. And I knew that going in. Over the years, I had a lot of people say, ask me if I didn't know. I knew that going in. That was more so a stepping stone to seeing what it would be like on a national stage. I would like to think that I have some level of patience that I've built over the years, and I'm trying to consistently build upon that every single day, especially with being a father.
Yeah.
But I understood that it was a small stepping stone to something greater, and it gave me a better understanding of what it would take. But it was a great experience overall. I had a fun time, but it was tough. It was a tough, challenging prep for me.
Yeah, Josh. Now you achieved that peak 2017, winning that big show. I remember the lineup. It was a really tough lineup. You were the best one there, and then things start change moving forward. What really changed that much in your mindset to step a little bit away from bodybuilding, at least from the competitive aspect of bodybuilding, to live more a fitness lifestyle where you are focusing more on mobility, on cardio and other things? What really changed to lead you to this change of directions?
And there was a lot of things. I think it all kind of compiled into 2017 after the national win. It was I pushed my body so hard, and I brought it to this level that I haven't pushed, ever. And it caused a lot of challenges and resistance within other aspects of my life. I was overly trained. I was very worn down in a lot of ways after 2017. We compete. We have these preps that are 12, 16 weeks long, and just get on stage for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing 2 days of cardio plus on top of my training. So I was in the gym 3 times a day, really pushing myself. And after the show, it was honestly, I believe I got this space of like this depression of my body was just so imbalanced in so many ways, from hormones to just physical fatigue overall. It affected a lot of my life overall.
Yeah.
And that's really where that was the red flag for me, especially being, I'm a health coach. I engineer people's lives for the better. And I really had to take a step back and ask myself, how can I really help other people achieve the health that I want to achieve, or want them to achieve, if I'm not healthy myself?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the start of my kind of evolution and my ability to step back from bodybuilding. And I still competed 2018. I had a couple guest posings 2018, 2019. but 2017 was that the last time I really like
Did a hardcore prep.
did a hardcore prep, because 2018 was I did the Phil Heath, and it was the funnest show I've ever done in my life, just because I approached it so differently than what I was doing years before. Like I wasn't even prepping for a show. I was ultimately just getting ready for a couple photo shoots coming up for Advertise, and I was in decent shape, not a competitive bodybuilding shape. The prep's a lot different, but I was like, okay, let's have fun with it. Let's pick a show. I was busy working, but it was funny. I approached it just from having fun. I had a weekend where I wasn't working, and I was like, okay, let's look at the calendar and see what's there. And this was like 10, 11 days from the show itself. And I was like, let's just do this show.
Well, but you were already in shape. You were already lean.
I was in shape, but I wasn't. There's a different prep for a photo shoot where you're, only having your shirt off versus like being in, bodybuilding posing trunks.
Yeah.
It's a completely different approach. And, what comes with that is I wasn't, taking any of the extra supplements that went along with a deep prep like that. It was very simple and very fun. And I enjoyed the show. I got the overall, and it was a good insight on to understanding, okay, what's the difference between the shows I did prior to this one? It was just my mindset, my approach to it. I had so much fun from that, and that kind of projected me into so many other realms of what was possible. It was okay. From there, I was able to get a couple guest posings under my belt, some, here in Dallas or here in Texas, and then all the way into Japan. So I was traveling the world doing these guest postings and seeing the impact that just enjoying the process, came with everything else.
Yeah.
It was almost like I was just manifesting these things in my life, and they were just happening so easily. Which before it was just like it was these grueling preps, and my environment didn't help as well. But I realized that, there are certain times in your life where you kind of outgrow certain environments. But I'm very grateful for the places that I was during that time and what I learned from the environment, from the people. And I'm very loving and very fortunate and blessed to be put in the position that I'm in. But understanding that, if without the enjoyment of it, it's really hard to really sit with yourself and be grateful for the process itself if you're just constantly just pushing and just grinding. So just finding that balance for me was very important, especially within my own health, especially for understanding, what I'm trying to emulate or be an example of for my two children, my two boys. So it was a balance of that really got me to a point to understand, okay, I need to find it within myself to create this health for myself, for my family. And it's really just it's so contagious. I realized once I started getting healthier, everything else got healthier, my relationships, my business, my environment. And that was really my focus. My focus is really for my family, my clients, and what I really wanted to embody.
Right. No, but it's all interesting. The only thing that was I will not say shocking, but it was surprising to me, it was see you downsizing, because I know how hard you work to put that much of muscle to be that size. And I think at some point you reached 300 pounds at some point, or at least close to 300 or something. And then see you downsizing with quality. Let's be very clear, a very good quality downsize. But you did downsize, and I would like to understand. It was you did that on purpose, or you just let it flow, and as you were feeling better, you continued to downsize more.
I mean, I got to a point where I just wanted to refine, the many aspects of my life. I wanted to cut out anything that was just holding me down, holding me back. And with that, the weight came off. And I pushed to 300 pounds. And, what comes with that is just holding that much weight is just so much tension and so much there's a lot of weight, in so many ways, not even
Yeah.
physical. We're talking about the mental weight, the emotional weight. There's so much that comes with it. So it was more so me understanding why I started bodybuilding, why, or the deep aspects of me always pushing for more, and asking myself, where can I push for more in better ways? And that was really my approach to really getting, leaning out. And a lot more came with it too, but understanding, okay, I came up in this sport, and I had so much fun with it, but for my sake, from a health standpoint, I really have to, resonate and connect with the healthier side of what I'm trying to promote and what I'm trying to embody. With that level of, weight on your body, it's just so taxing on everything, on your organs, on a lot. And there's healthy ways to do it. But for me, there were so much health problems that I had, nothing significant at the time, but, the sleep apnea, the challenges, putting on shoes, I was so big that it was hard for me to really operate my life or what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah, just play around with your kids probably was tough because you couldn't run.
Yes. Exactly. It's I want to be physically capable of anything, and I'm at a point now where I'm close to 100 pounds lighter. And there's a lot that goes into what I'm trying to achieve now. I'm trying to, especially as a health coach, the goal for me is always to help people improve any aspect of their life. They come and see me, they're trying to lose weight. They're trying to be more active, more mobile, more healthy. It's longevity. So I have to really
lead by example.
Do that. I have to be the example, and not just for them, but for my family. It's like, what do I want my kids to see? What habits do I want them to grow up and have?
Now, at any point in time during this transition, did you have those discussions with yourself, thinking about, damn, I'm gonna give away all these great things that I already achieved, and I could achieve more? There was any debate, or you were so focused on this new journey that you change like naturally without any, hesitant, because sometimes, at least for mainly for bodybuilders, right? There is so much ego involved. There is so many things involved that it's really hard to downsize. That's the reality.
It is. You're right, because I've had so many people over the past couple of years be like, why'd you get smaller? Why don't you want to be big? And I don't need to be big anymore. I from a personal standpoint, I've been there. I understand what it's like, and I also understand what it's like right now for me. So the difference between where I was and where I am now is like just light years. And it's not me giving up anything. It's just I gained that experience. A lot of people ask, why don't you continue to, work towards a pro card? That never was really, that wasn't my goal. That honestly, to be honest with you, like coming up within bodybuilding, it's people think about that all the time, and it was in the back of my mind, but just because other people were asking me to do it, I almost had these milestones that I put in my own subconscious that I was knocking out throughout the years. Like I won a national show. I didn't get my pro card, but that's okay. I had that experience. I had a guest posing where I was able to bring my two boys up on stage with me. That was something that was really I saw that growing up at a bodybuilding show. I was like, oh, that'd be so cool. And not even knowing that I was, planning that deep down within myself. I traveled to Japan to, go guest pose. So, and a magazine cover. So there's all these things that I achieved within the time that I wanted to, that it was a point to where I had to move to something else. I knew I didn't want to be Mr. Olympia. I'm very observant. I really try to look and see, what these top individuals are doing, how they're living their lives. And if it's not something I want within my life, I'm not going to go after it. For me, my health is so valuable, for what I do for a living. I can't
Compromise. Yeah.
promote something and then not live it myself, because it doesn't compute. It's not on the same frequency for me. So it was more so just, it was time to evolve and time to change.
Did you see during this transition a lot of people that, because I believe that there are some people that get close to you when you are on the peak of something, and then when you leave that position, they just disappear, and then you really understand who were your friends, right? Did you had the experience of people just going away because you're not that Josh anymore?
Of course. You realize as you age and get older and evolve, your values get more refined and your environment matches your values. From there, you see through people's intentions, you see why people are there, why they're not there anymore. And it's just, and from a following standpoint as well, I understand we all evolve. Life is meant to put us through it. And as I evolve, I lose followers. I gain followers that are more aligned with what I'm doing now. And that's okay. Like, I lose friends or people that approach me in that way, and that's okay. I've really just understood the value over the last few years of this transition of just not worrying about it. Honestly, it's people are going to stay where they are. If they want change in their life, they'll gravitate towards people that are changing for the better. I believe I'm changing for the better and evolving for the better. As I mature, I hope I'm doing that. From where I am standing right now, it's hard to see that from the outside. I hope I am, but if people don't want to change or don't want to evolve or aren't willing to accept who I currently am, it's okay with me, because I accept who I am. I'm very thankful for the experiences that bodybuilding has given me. I have no resentment towards anyone, anything, experience that I've had in my past. It's brought me to exactly here right now, talking to you and just enjoying life. So that's where I am with all the ebbs and flows of relationships and people just being there for a certain reason or seeing your success and wanting that. But it allows me to really open up. And see.
That's very important. And but as a coach, did this transition also change your approach towards your clients? For example, if you have a client that comes to you and say, "Hey, Josh, I want to prep. I want to push myself." Do you give some extra insights of what this really means, or do you just say, "I do whatever you want to do," without giving your testimony or without giving your insights?
And over my years, I've been, coaching people for 16 years. So I've definitely, at the beginning of my career, I was more open to taking on anyone, whatever your goal is. But as I get older, as I understand, what people want to achieve and what it takes, I'm very transparent about what I've done in my past within bodybuilding, all over my social media. I'm very open with it and accepting of it. So if someone comes to me and wants to compete, I'm very open to taking them on. But at the same time, they need to understand that I value their well-being and their health. Some people come to me and they don't put that at the forefront of their goals, which is fine. But I'm not going to take on anyone that I don't believe aligns with what I want to achieve for them, which is ultimately just safety, well-being, life. But I've been very picky over the past few years of who I want to coach, just because I understand that there are people that don't really just want to get from point A to point B. It doesn't matter what they do, what they take. And I'm just not about that right now.
Yeah, that's very cool, because it shows that you are in a different level of maturity, but also that your business is doing great. Because if you can choose your clients, it means that your business is actually doing pretty good.
Yeah, and it evolves. Like again, I go from putting people on stage to now, I go deep into just generational health and seeing the impact that I can make on families and parents that want to see lifestyle change. That's really my passion because again, I'm a husband, I'm a father. I'm trying to maintain a healthy household, and I've seen the value, from being 300 pounds, very unhealthy at that level, challenged, to being the healthiest I am now at 31. I see the difference in just my mindset, my ability, and what comes with that is just so valuable.
Yeah, it's good that you realize all that before any major issue, because I've seen some cases where the bodybuilder only realized that after a major issue like a heart attack or something. Then they were like, oh shit, I was too big, I was putting too much pressure on my heart or things like that. Then they start to change. In your case, you realize that even before anything serious took place.
Yeah, and again, like, I'm coming off of, my father passed away 2 weeks ago. So I'm also coming off of, he was physically, he looked very healthy. My same build, obviously not as athletic, and right now he was 57, but
Wow,
understanding
very
that,
young.
yeah, understanding that, health is so valuable, and looking a certain way doesn't always translate to being healthy. And you see a lot of that within the fitness industry.
Yes.
If you have a six pack, that must translate to you being healthy. And that's just not the case. And I'm just trying to let the world know that there's so much more depth within health that we can be considering versus having some life challenging issue hit you, and now you have to be reactive to it versus proactive. So I'm just, I'm gaining momentum and gaining this big, powerful passion for just helping families understand the value of their habits and what they do and how they pass them down to their kids.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I had this realization that my cardio was terrible when I started jiu-jitsu in 2018. I just tried to roll, and I was too big, and I thought that all my hours on the stairmaster would be enough, but it was terrible. So then when you do something so different like martial arts, like jiu-jitsu, and you realize that your strength is good for the first 2 minutes, but after that you have no gas. You start just to think about, oh, something is not right. I need to fix that.
Exactly. And again, like, I'm transitioning now into preparing for my first mixed martial arts fight. So I've been, the past, year has I'm getting my butt kicked on the mat in jiu-jitsu, and getting my ego handed to me every single day. So it's the value of that so important for people to understand. Like, you have to do things that are out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And really getting into MMA for me is this, I'm trying to promote the value of lifestyle change for the better. I've been super heavy. I understand the impact of, sleep apnea, the challenges that come with that excess weight. And I've been helping people one-on-one for 16 years. I'm trying to reach more people. I'm trying to show them that you can be 100 pounds overweight and then have a lifestyle change for the better. And that's really my goal around this fighting, is really showing people extremes. I want to show them that at 300 pounds, I can come down and be a world-class athlete. So the journey's only started now. I'm very confident in being able to inspire other people to start making some healthier lifestyle changes. But it's a fun process. Like, I'm
What is your weight right now?
I'm about 210, 250, yeah, probably about 210.
That's still from the martial arts perspective. That's still called heavyweight, right?
it's a light. I think 205 is
Light
lightweight.
heavyweight,
So
yeah.
I'm around there, yes. But I'm not sure what I'll compete at. But by the end of this month, I should have a fight, and been preparing for a year. So I'm actually just ready.
But
Lightweight.
you're not doing anything special as far as dropping weight or things like that, right?
No. I'm just showing up. We're seeing where my weight is now. Once I get on a card, I'll probably have to cut weight to be more precise, but nothing too crazy. I think my body's very efficient at this level, and my weight can move. My diet's consistent. I'm not tracking food. I'm eating what I like, but at the same time, I value nutrition very much, and I've seen a big impact on my life just by the type of food that I'm eating.
Yeah, but let's be clear. You say you're not tracking food because you're not like precisely doing like you used to do it in bodybuilding, but you're still watching what you eat, right? It's not that you are eating everything.
Yeah. So I'm the type of food that I'm very particular with, just the types of food that I eat. I keep a good variety of, fruits, vegetables, good sort of high quality protein, organic, grass fed. But I'm really not tracking calories. I'm training consistently, I've overcome a couple injuries getting into this fighting thing. So just working on staying healthy and active.
So you have no idea of your calorie intake right now? Probably
I have
no idea.
I'm actually, today I was fasting. I'm gonna fast every Sunday starting now. So I'll go for like a 24-hour fast and just let my body relax, detox, reset. But the calories, I have no idea how many calories I eat on a day. I probably eat 3 times a day, maybe 4, but it's a lot different than my bodybuilding days when I was
6,
eating 7, 8 meals, waking up in the middle of the night, eating. But yeah, it's a big change.
Yeah, that's cool. And as far as training, are you training like twice a day, once a day?
Right now, I need to get my cardio up. So just making sure that my cardio in the morning. I try to go. It varies. I have the assault bike. I'll hop on the rower, some jump rope, and then I'm doing rolling on the mat 3 times a week. I'm striking for 3 times a week as well, or 4 times a week, and then I'm probably lifting right now, maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh, wow.
Nothing too crazy. Yeah, it's not a lot. I'm just transitioning from where I was as a bodybuilder. It's very isolated, very, very isolated movements. It's now I'm putting all the muscles together, for fighting.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot. It's a big change. So I had to really re-engineer my body in so many ways. But I'm got to a point where I feel good and we're moving and flowing.
So working out 3 times a day, lifting, let's say, lifting 3 times a week. How do you divide the training? You don't do like back and chest like you used to in the past? How did you divide those 3 days?
Typically, if I do, let's say I train twice a week, I'll do like posterior, anterior. So it's more so, head to toe. But I may focus on when I'm doing my posterior days, I'll do back, triceps, hamstrings. Anterior is going to look like chest, biceps, quads. I'm doing full body movements. Pretty much everything I do is full body, incorporating some aspect of, upper, lower, and core. I'm allowing my body to be more athletic versus, again, going into isolation of just doing bicep curls.
But what is interesting, Josh, that I noticed in some of your videos, that your strength is still there. I mean, you were lifting pretty heavy the other day. I think it was squat or deadlift, something like that. It was pretty heavy.
Yeah, my strength is still there. Again, I'm not. My training is a lot different from the volume that I was doing when I was bodybuilding. But my strength is definitely still there. The volume just lower. Like I probably do maybe 3 sets. Sometimes 2 sets, but I'll have some warm-up sets into that, working up. But I'm not breaking down the muscle as deep as I was in bodybuilding because my recovery it needs to be more effective, more efficient. And with fighting, fighting is more tested. So I don't need anything because I don't take anything. So ultimately, it's more so being as efficient as possible with my sleep, with my nutrition, and from there, everything kind of comes into place. Finding that, refinding that center with, from a bodybuilding standpoint to where I am now, a fighting standpoint, two different worlds, completely different worlds. So I'm really just trying to understand how to manage this new lifestyle and understanding, okay, I need to be as effective and train as smart and recover smart as possible, because I'm trying to achieve this level of just world-class endurance, world-class conditioning, athleticism. Because again, it all ties back into lifestyle change. That's really what I'm trying to convey. I'm trying to inspire people to make a change for the better. Because early in 2020, I foresaw just this impact of people from, being isolated, gaining weight. And I wanted to really showcase what's possible for people that may have gained 30, 40 pounds this past year and were down on themselves and wanted to make a change but didn't know how. So this is more so my ability to, as a coach, as a trainer, to help, a bigger population of people. I'm trying to really inspire everyone else, people that I may not work with one-on-one. I'm trying to inspire millions of people to make a change for the better. And it's easier said than done. And it's going to be a long journey. But I think the story alone will help inspire the right people for the right reasons.
You were for many years very focused on bodybuilders, as we talk about here, which means that all your training and your skills, things that you learn, people that you learn from, were very focused on the isolation of the movement, on the hypertrophy and everything. When you transition to this new form of training, did you actually had to refresh your knowledge, take some different trainings, learn different things, or did you hire someone to help you during this transition?
For my striking, for the actual fighting itself, I had to hire a couple coaches that specialize in MMA, Muay Thai, wrestling, the jiu-jitsu aspect of it. So I have a couple coaches that helped me through that. The lifting itself was always me. My background is very functional, very athletic. I started interning in the gym when I was 15 years old. I was helping high school athletes improve their athleticism. So that was my foundation. That's where I started.
Okay.
From there, I've built many certifications over the past 16 years, whether it be from, muscle activation technique to biomechanics. So my background has always been the human body as a whole, how it functions, how it operates. And then really going into the nutrition side was easy because, again, from bodybuilding standpoint, that was always in my foundation. Having a good meal plan, a consistent plan to go on, understanding the difference between, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and how they interacted with your body. So I have all this knowledge that I'm trying to refine into what I'm currently doing right now, which I'm very thankful for. It's almost like all these tools. There's a certain point in your life where you realize you've built all this knowledge for a reason.
All come together now.
And that's where I am now. Really, I'm just understanding, okay, I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I'm physically not at my peak yet. I'm 31. I have a few more years where I'm going to really push my physical ability. I couldn't do that. I could do that in bodybuilding, but not from a athletic standpoint. It was only visual. It was so now I'm in a place where I'm able to physically be able to just conquer a lot of stuff. And that's where I am. But it's fun. It's a fun
and not only from the physical standpoint, I'm pretty sure that from the psychological perspective, you are in a much better place, because I've seen so many cases of marriage that people that got divorced because of bodybuilding, people that are so focused on me that forgot about family. There is so many issues that comes with this full focus on compete, be on stage, diet all the time. That I think that sometimes you passing through this transition, you probably feel more relief and psychologically healthier as well.
So much. And again, going back to 2017, it was, we just had our second child. And after the show, I had this depression within myself that I was going through, and my wife was going through the same thing with postpartum depression. So it was almost like we didn't know what was happening. We didn't understand. It was the first time we were, as young parents, going through this stuff. And it caused a strain within our relationship. And that was a big part of me taking a step back from bodybuilding as well. Realizing that if I'm not healthy psychologically, mentally, physically, it translates into, every other aspect of my life. And you do see that. It's an ego-driven sport. I remember walking around my biggest, and people pay attention, they notice you, and there's this this psychological aspect that isn't really good in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, wow, you look big, but there's
you pay the price. You pay the price.
You pay the price. If you're not conscious and aware of it. And I even see it now. It's funny. From the outside looking in, I could see someone that's was where I was, and they still have that same approach to the people around them. They're like, oh, I'm big and bad, and everyone's acting a certain way around them, or you get this validation.
Yeah.
I remember as I got bigger, you get this external validation that, oh, I'm getting bigger. Oh, people are noticing. Oh, that's good. And you continue to kind of go down that path, and it can end up in a very bad way in a lot of ways. Health, relationships, your ego. So understanding that you have to have some sense of what's going on from the outside looking in, and you have to have good people in your corner, because if you don't have that, you're only getting fed this external validation from a superficial space of, oh, you're putting on size, more. More is better. More isn't always better. And that's where I was. I got to the point where I understood that more of this isn't better. More muscle, more size isn't better. It's all about quality and refining and understanding, okay, how can I be the best me possible, while putting value into what I believe in and the people and the things around me, versus constantly feeding my ego. It's literally, you're literally feeding your body and you're feeding your ego at the same time. So that's really something that I had to overcome in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Since you started this transition, did you already help someone to go through the same journey of change and downsizing?
Yeah, over my years, I have helped a lot of people, achieve, at the beginning of COVID, when things got locked down, I had one of my clients start with me. She lost 50 pounds over COVID, over the time the gyms got shut down, and I run a boot camp for some of the residents within the community I live in. And the gym got shut down, so we had to go outside and do boot camp outside for the entire time when the gyms were shut down, and she lost 50 pounds during that time. So just seeing the change that happened, that brings, is so motivational for me. That's what it really inspires me. The check-ins, the weekly check-ins I get from clients, really understanding, okay, I'm seeing change. I feel more energized. I feel better. My testosterone's higher just because I sleep better, I'm eating the right foods, and my doctor's taking me off all these medications. That's what really fires me up, is really empowering other people and seeing them notice their own power within themselves.
Yep. No, that's amazing. That's truly priceless when you are able to impact someone's life by the work that you provide. And I know that you have a huge clientele, different type of clients. And as far as I understand, you work with all type of clients, right? I mean, regardless of the age and regardless of their fitness goals.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I work with, over my years, I've worked with, kids 10 years old to 80 plus years, professional athletes, Fortune 500 CEOs trying to just find some balance within their life. So through that and the personal aspect of one-on-one training, I've gained so much insight on life and business and relationships. And that's something that's priceless to me. I take every bit of information that my clients give me and utilize it for the best within my own life.
Nice. Awesome. Now, I'm curious about this MMA journey. You're doing all those sports, jiu-jitsu, strike, all that. But are you feeling a little bit passionate about one specifically that you want to say, man, I would like to get a black belt on this? Or is just complementary?
Right now, I mean, the work that goes into it is the discipline is, 7 years for a black belt.
At least.
At least, right now, it's possible. I really enjoy the stand-up. For me, like jiu-jitsu is something that I'm learning to enjoy just because I have to. I didn't like it because I was getting my butt kicked for 6 months straight. But realizing that what comes with that is you get better, you overcome yourself in a lot of ways, those resistance points where you're like, okay, I need to learn this. Down the line, definitely. I'm trying to just focus on finding balance within all of it to create a good package and see what I'm naturally good at so I can really focus on those skills. But a black belt, I mean, that would be really cool. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, because the reason I asked this is because everyone that I know that starts the jiu-jitsu journey, they just get extremely addicted. There are so many people that they start and they're like, man, I'm just addicted to this thing. And time goes by, they never stop training. And as you never stop training, you're going to evolve, and then suddenly you're going to be blue, and then purple. If the journey continues. That's why knowing you, know that you are a driven person, and you're still super young, 31. So I see that completely achievable to you.
Oh yeah, I definitely see it. Right now, I'm really just focused head forward on just getting a fight in, seeing what I'm like under that kind of pressure. I have a confidence in myself and a belief in myself that anything I put my mind to, I'm going to do it. And I have in the past. So it's more so me picking these bigger goals. The reason I, picked fighting was because I needed to challenge myself. It wasn't so much for my opponents, but it's really just finding confidence within myself and understanding that I could attack any goal that I put my mind to. And this is a really big goal for me, really changing up my lifestyle from where I was to where I want to go is.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
It's huge and it's rare. And my passion really, it's always stemmed from helping inspire people to make a change for the better within their own life.
Yeah.
I understand how I felt when I was at my heaviest, and physically, mentally, emotionally. And I understand where I am now. So to really convey that story to other people is something that I'm more passionate about than anything, because I want to really impact family health. I want to impact my own family's health. And I really want to see change for the better within the current climate of where we are now, with there are people still locked down, still isolated, still finding challenges within in their own health that's compounded over the stress of 2020. I was impacted about that recently with my father passing away. I traveled up to New Jersey for the funeral, and it's still locked down. You have a lot of people living within fear, and how that impacts your health is so dramatic. And I'm just really passionate about conveying the importance of just making better, healthier choices, not only for yourself, but for your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh, before I wrap up, I just want you to have the opportunity to advertise your podcast, because I know you are recording some podcasts as well. So what is the name of the podcast and how can we find it?
It's called Lifted Mindset Podcast. And it's Think Bigger, Exist Better. It's on Spotify. It's really the mindset space for what I do for a living from a coaching standpoint. I'm hoping to get a broader, audience to understand the mental aspect of habit change, lifestyle change, getting healthier, generational health. I go deep into, family health, just everything. It's really just a space to really touch on overcoming, just like your podcast, overcoming adversity, overcoming yourself, overcoming the challenges that are put in front of us, and how we can really grow from them and really see them as something that can create a better environment for ourselves. Really approaching any form of resistance in our life for the better. And that's really the main focus of the podcast, is just changing the mindset towards a growth mindset.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we all need that mainly nowadays. So, Josh, thank you very much for everything you do, for your work, for your testimony today here on Overcome. And keep up the great work, my friend. You're doing great.
Yuri, thank you so much for having me on here. It was great to talk to you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I hope the family's doing well, and I look forward to hearing this.
All right, brother. Thank you very much. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
See y'all next time, my friends.